Well, hello, my sweet friends, and welcome to another episode of the Art K Coach podcast. Christina here. Super happy to have you all here. And you're not going to believe who's the guest today. Well, you probably are because you saw it in the title of the podcast. But today with us, we have Chef Patissier. Am I saying this correctly? I don't know. I hope so.
Oh, you got yeah,
Adriano,
yeah.
Adriano Zumbo from Australia. I'm so honored to have you here. Hello, Adriano. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me. Amazing to be on your podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm sure you all know who Adriano Zumbo is, but in case if you don't know, Adriano Zumbo is an Australian patissier known for his creative and intricate desserts, as well as his appearances on shows. You probably see it on Netflix, on Zumba's Just Dessert, Master Chef Australia, and of course Sugar Rush. I'm a big fan of Sugar Rush on
Nice.
Netflix. And what an honor! What an honor to have you here. Um, I managed to contact you through our mutual friend Sharon. Thank you, Sharon, if you're listening. Thank you so much. And I mean, I'm like, yay! I'm so happy to have you here. Really,
Awesome. Well, that's great.
Adriana, where are you right now? Are you in Australia right now?
No, no, currently in Charlotte, North Carolina, in the United States of America, and here for a pastry conference. So yeah, just arrived, getting settled. So yeah, beautiful,
Great.
beautiful weather here. So nice and hot. So happy days.
Ah, nice, nice. The thing is, we've been trying to, to make this happen, but with the schedules, Portugal, Australia, time difference is being a little hard. So I took advantage of that. Adriana was in the States. Okay, so 5 hours difference is not as bad as 9 hours difference.
Nice.
So here we are, here we are.
I
Adriana,
love
I'm
it.
going to start right away asking you. Of course, we're gonna get into your background. You're gonna tell us a little bit of your story, but I have to ask, what's your favorite dessert? What's the comfort food dessert that you're like, oh, I'm craving something sweet. What am I going to eat?
The thing I probably eat the most of, like comfort desserts at home, it's really just ice cream. Like I love ice cream gelato.
Love it.
Uh, I eat the whole bucket. I love it. It's just one of my favorite things when it's good. I can keep eating it. It's that or a block of dark chocolate. They're my probably two
Uh,
guilty pleasures that I eat the most. If we're going to
yeah,
go into probably a typical dessert, it'd be something like a chocolate lava cake or apple pie, things like that. Like I really love to eat at home. I think they're comfort foods. They're delicious. They're
it
simple,
is.
and you can eat them all the time. It's not hard to. It's not one of those things where you got to think about what you're eating. So it's delicious.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think I will go better for the apple pie. I'm more like an apple pie cinnamon kind of person than chocolate.
Nice. Yeah.
Although, of course, a good dark chocolate, that's me definitely too. I have sweet tooth. We work in this world. We kind of like the search, right?
Oh, definitely.
Great.
I love
Well,
it.
thank you so much for your answer. Now, let's get to business. And one of the reasons that, of course, the honor of having you in the show and having you in the podcast. But as you know, this podcast is for cake artists, for cake decorators, anyone who's in the sweet world of desserts and decorative desserts, especially. But I like to focus the show on the let's say on the mindset of being in this world, on how to organize your life around working in this kind of work. And we don't even dream of having the pressure and the amount of work that you have, but coming from somebody who's has for what I read on your bio, you started by selling homemade goods. Is that true? Homemade cakes? So how do
Yeah.
you come from that to where you are today? Tell us a little bit about your story, and how does that feel for you as a person? How do you manage all of the things that you do?
Well, like I grew up in a country town in Australia, very small, 3,000 people. I left home at 15, moved to Sydney, did an apprenticeship. Uh, worked through a few bakeries and various places, restaurants, things like that. And then I ended up in like a French sourdough bakery where I was doing the cake side of things. I wasn't really doing the bread. doing all the coach there. So I got a lot of experience there because I fell into like the lead role at 19 years old. So by accident, my boss left the who was running the pastry stuff, and I covered for a couple of weeks, and then just never found anyone else, and then I just uh, took over the role. What I mean? They never found anyone, so I stayed there 5 years. Um, it really helped me develop my confidence and my own skills, and looking for new avenues to learn. It really pushed me to really figure that out because I had to. And from there, I just kept growing. I got to the point, I think 27 or 26, I started, as you said, cooking from home. I sort of left working for other people. I took a break for a bit. I was just baking from home. I was doing local markets. I was selling to a local cafe in the suburb where I was living in Sydney, and that's how I started. And it was just, it's getting me by, it's getting me by. And I was only doing basic products because from home it's very hard to do anything too high level intricate without the equipment. Um, and so I was doing, like banana breads, muffins, tarts, all those kind of things, biscuits, things that you can do from home quite easily. And um, and just yeah, just grew from there. And then people kept saying, "Where's your shop? Have you got a store?" And I said no. And then just I think everyone around me kept pushing me from customers and fans to friends to open something. So do something. You got a great skill. You can put it out there. People want to come and experience it and enjoy it. And so eventually I did. I got into a business at 27, 2007 it was. Had my first store with the help of some friends and a push from everyone around me, family, friends, who all helped me open that first store. And I got into it. I just started making stuff that I really wanted to make and show my personality, and grew from there. From that store, then I grew to 11 stores, sorry, 11 stores in a high room. So 2007 to 2000 and end of 2018,
Hmm.
and then obviously we closed down at the end of 2018, and then yeah, so it was a wild ride, and throughout those 12 years, there was many great experiences. Learning about business, growing the business, traveling the world. All those things came into play. Writing books, doing TV shows, and it was a really fun run. It was crazy. It was like, you never been so busy in your life. You don't have a minute to yourself, but uh, it's one of those experiences that you just got to kind of just go with the ride, wherever it takes you, and learn
Hmm.
so much. From being a chef to then trying to be a business person to being a
Yeah.
personality as well, all at once. It's not. It kind of doesn't work. In a sense of trying
Yeah.
to be all those things. It's very difficult without having uh, you need another team behind you. I have a team, but like you need someone who's business side of it, just running that. I probably didn't fully get to that point. I had some good people in the office and stuff. I had my sister as well, and some amazing people who worked with me. But we never got that bit right. So and then, yeah. So then and just the last few years been freelancing. So it's been I've done a bit of everything and experienced all
Yeah.
different avenues throughout the baking and dessert industry. Um, and yeah, learned a lot, so it's good fun.
It's great. I mean, I've been writing that. I'm writing down a few of the things you've been talking about because um when for the cake artists that I talk to in the show, and they all feel like, oh, I'm in my kitchen, I'm not doing much. I'm just here and, probably serving my customers or my family with some desserts that I made. And you started there and look how far you came. But I mean, you mentioned so much. You mentioned, first of all, getting into the role of a leader at a very young age. How
Yeah,
did you face that? How did that change you as a person?
uh,
I mean, were you the one that says, I'm gonna be the leader? Or like, okay, somebody has to do it, let's just do it. How was it
yeah.
for you?
I think I wanted it. I was young. I moved to Sydney. I didn't know a lot of people. I didn't grow up in Sydney, so for me, I was kind of dedicated to my job.
Mm,
I'm passionate anyway, naturally, and it just connected. I worked hard. I was working 16 plus hours a day because I wanted to, not because someone was making me. I
yeah.
wanted to,
Mm.
And I did that for the experience. And I think this is a big word in this current world now because it's a lot different. The new generation coming through, they won't work unless it's like for something. Whereas usually that's like a money figure. Whereas I worked because I knew down the track that me working hard now in my own time because I want to get better skills, I want to learn more, I want to be a better chef, uh, you know, because I know more and I've learned more. It pays off down the road, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I see it. It's a hard one to explain to a lot of people because some people get a little bit touchy on it, but that's how I see it. I've always been like that. I knew that whatever I do, I'm only growing myself. Whether I stay
Oh, I
at
love
for
that.
5 hours and do extra work, or in that position where I was 19 and in charge, I was creating stuff. So me
Yeah.
stepping back, I was only growing myself, learning new techniques, different things, learning how to make macarons. Because at 19 I didn't know how to make macarons. I was only
See,
learning
and now
as time
you
went
are
on.
now
And
you
I
are the
became
reference for macarons.
exactly. So it's not,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's one of those things where you just got to keep being who you are. If you keep driving and pushing, and and find the right avenues and the right directions, it'll pay off.
Oh,
It
I
will.
love this.
It's just perseverance,
Yeah.
uh, and, and networking a lot of the time too. Meeting people,
Oh,
talking to
yeah.
people.
Hmm.
Like you just don't know. Never. I always take if someone says something to me like they got this idea. I always listen to it. I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but I always listen to it because you just
You
never
never
know,
know,
right? And if
right?
you never listen to it, then you never know an opportunity could have been there. So
Yeah.
I always listen or hear something. I'm like, yeah, happy to listen or send me a message with what you're thinking. It may not be for me or may not be something that connects with me, but it may be. So I've always been like that, and I think it's very important to anybody, especially in this industry. It's hard. It's hard from get go. Doesn't matter which way you go. You're working for someone. You're working for yourself. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a hard industry. There's no
Yes.
word about it. There's very little margin, compared to the amount of labour you have to put in to do a lot of the intricate creative stuff. So,
Hmm.
and for what will people pay, especially in the current economy, cost of living's
Oh,
gone
yeah.
up across the
Yeah.
world.
Hmm.
So it's even gotten harder. So justifying what you do to the masses becomes harder because everyone wants something that's more affordable or whatever. And I think that's where the skill and creativity have to come in because you have to design something that works for you, but also for the end consumer. Because there's no point making something out of this world that took you 3 days to make, but no one will pay for it.
Exactly. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. We always have to find, listen, everyone. I mean, so many takeaways from this today. I'm like, yes, because so many of the things you're mentioning, even, I mean, from our community, that's the best. That's the best now. That's the most current topic. Is like, I'll have all these skills, I make all these beautiful things, and nobody pays for this. And that struggle. So people is not only you in your kitchen. Listen to Adriano Zumbo. It's everywhere in the industry. This
yeah,
happens. I loved when you mentioned that, especially these younger generations, they don't do anything if it's not for, like, they're gonna get something in return. And when you mention skills, because this is something I always mention here in the podcast, knowledge and skills is yours. Nobody's going to take it away from you. And I mean, you never know what's going to bring you in the future. Networking, you mentioned networking, I'm all for it. I think if it wasn't for my networking, you wouldn't be here today. So definitely,
there
I
you go.
wouldn't have the podcast, this podcast, you wouldn't be here today, because it's like, okay, I have a friend who has a friend who knows this person. You never know. It's just knock on that door, because you never know. So many takeaways, knowledge and skills. Another thing you mentioned before was the business side of it, and how us as creative beings, because we're very creative, we like making the desserts or the cakes or the decorations, and then we forget about the business part, and we have to have that
Oh,
business mind or somebody to help us. And
totally.
yeah,
And I
how
think
how
I
was
think
how was
especially
the
for
road for
people,
you?
I think especially for people who work from home, a lot
Mm.
of the time don't value their time, right? Because they're at
Oh,
home. Do you know what I mean?
absolutely.
They think, I'm at home. I don't have any rent. but I'm going to make this cake for $60. But
Yeah.
reality is it might take them a whole day, 2 days. I mean, already you've blown out the budget, but you don't see it sometimes because you're not looking at. I'm not paying myself
Yeah.
$25 an hour, whatever it is you want to pay. You should.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to. If you want to justify making money from home, you need to pay yourself. But you might not pay yourself, but even mentally, you need to allocate that into the price because there's no
Mm-hmm.
point making something, I mean, nice if you're just doing it for Instagram and you want to make something spectacular just for, content or whatever, because that's your outlet and that's your gateway. But
Yeah.
if you're selling to somebody at a price, you really got to counteract that in. If you want a business to be successful, you need to count all those steps along the way, every cost, every outlay,
Yeah.
and every bit of income. So
Oh,
that's something
yeah.
super important, I think, to think about because I see it a lot. I see people that don't count their time. Oh yeah, but
Mhm.
it's okay. I like to do it. I enjoy it. But and I get it. I mean, I was there once, and I had that. And I'm still a little bit like that. But now I think from having a business and having a business that grew big and failed as well. In the end, is you look at all that because there's no
Mm.
point having a business if you're not there to make money.
It's
You
not
know,
a business.
that
It's an expensive hobby. That's all it
it's an
is. Yeah.
expensive hobby.
Yeah.
Keep it as a hobby if you want. You know what I mean? Like that's one thing, right? I
Mhm.
think that's the separation. Make stuff for Instagram, whatever. You know,
Yeah.
have another job if you want to do that. But if you're gonna have a home business or a business, bricks and mortar business, online business, whatever it is, you really gotta you really gotta be there for the dollars because that's what it's about.
That's
You
it.
have overheads and costs, and that's life and that's
And it's
reality.
amazing how the mindset towards how we view ourselves as part of that business, like you said, paying yourself, having those, taking count every little dollar or out or whatever it is that you're spending, the hours that you're allocating to the thing that you're doing. And it's everywhere, every country, everyone I speak to is the same complaint. And when you tell them what you're telling right now, they're like, huh, but I'm working from home, and it's just, it's always the same conversation. And yeah, I'm not going to grow tired of telling everyone this is part of the conversation. You have to put your business cap on, and you
Yeah.
have to pay yourself, and you have to do the math. Otherwise,
Char
forget
even go to the point of charging yourself rent for the room. You know,
it. Yeah,
even if you're paying yourself that rent back into your family or whatever,
great
it's
tip. Yeah.
you're still allocating that expense, right? Because if you had to ever move out to grow,
Mm-hmm.
then if you're doing that already, then you're already covering that cost. If you have to step out, that's a new cost into your business model that you're not allocating for. In the end, you get that money back if you're paying yourself, but still your
Yeah.
business is paying that and being able to be either stable or not stable. You'll be able to tell if it's a positive business or a negative business in that sense, right? Because sometimes it could even
Yeah.
be that the rent might tip it over. Who knows? It could be anything. But if you need to make sure that you're covering all those things to know that I've got a great business. This
Yeah.
business can go somewhere. You know, that's where I think, like you said, like a lot of people don't really uh, account for that, think about it. It doesn't,
Yeah.
all they're thinking about is the creativity. And, it's definitely one part. That's the problem with a lot of creators. That their mind don't think like that. And
No.
I was like that too, right? But it's only through years and years of
Of
going
trying
through
and error,
experiences and
failing, and
trying and
yeah.
learning problems, trying to solve the problems,
Yeah.
and learning about those problems that we start to see that these things are really the most important, right? Because we know we have skill to cook. It's really about is it viable for what I do to be uh, catch positive in a business.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's
My
what you really
business.
got to do. So,
Listen to
so
Adriano Zumbo, everyone. It's not just me who says that. Adriano Zumbo I mean, you and every single guest that we have here in the show that works around business, we all mention the same. And hopefully, I think it's going to change. I think it's starting to change. The industry, little by little, people are starting to give more value to all of this thing, their time, or even if they don't know how to manage a business, they look for help to manage their
mhm.
business. which is
That's it.
important too. As I say, if you
Get
don't know,
someone to do it for you.
yeah, ask for help or educate
Yeah,
yourself, take a course, read a book, do something, but but don't wing it, because it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work, definitely.
doesn't
Thank
work.
you so
Yeah.
much for that input, because it was really, really good. Another word that I wrote here was team. You said you surround yourself with a great team. This is, I think, most of the members of the community, of our community, mention the fact of being quite lonely, especially because they work from home, they work by themselves, and sometimes when you work by yourself, you get so used to it that you're kind of afraid to reach out to more people to have that support. What
Yep.
has that support has been for you, and has it been like a big, make it or not make it thing, having
Oh,
that team,
totally.
having that support?
Absolutely. I think
Mhm.
when I first started, yeah, it was solo, kind of like, with the help of some family and one staff member, and then you grow. And then obviously as it gets busier and busier, that team becomes super important
Mhm.
because the amount of moving parts in a business or in your life as such, that team is what really gets you through and makes it happen. Whether it's people in the office, whether it's a chef by your side, where you're being able to focus on the creativity or what's coming up next, and while they're working on the day to day, it's all about delegating and allocating different tasks, also to people, but also people who maybe specialize in that area. So, for example, like how we're talking about business, maybe it's not your thing, you don't have an interest in it.
Yeah.
Delegate it. These days, there's so many ways to do it, right? We can outsource so much.
Yeah.
Things like Fiverr, or even locally through, in every country, I'm sure there's many in Australia, there's many companies that you can outsource things
Mhm.
to, who use, staff in different countries who have skills, who might be in their country, might be hard to find work, but their skills are very valuable in another country. So there's different ways to look at how you can operate your business side, whether it be accounting or marketing, all those different sorts of aspects, design. There's people that can do that all over the world and for a good rate as well. So look around. And then in the kitchen is surrounding yourself with good people, right? If you know that your business is healthy and you're a good cash flow and you can put someone on, there's nothing better. Right? If you find someone
Yeah.
great, someone you can lean on, someone you can work well with, who sort of has similar skills to yourself, or even a different set of skills that maybe they might have more of an organizational skill in the kitchen, right? Production wise, setting daily tasks, making sure everything's done, ordering, all those kind of things. Whereas you might have a brain of thinking of, okay, this month we're going to do these cool things, these specials. This is what we're going to do, and then someone takes that and then makes it happen.
Yeah.
That's the perfect scenario, right? In
It
a business
is.
or in a sense where you're working your craft is that, right? Because then you can work on other things, or maybe you get called somewhere to go and do an event, or maybe you get called away to do this, that, this. Then you're able to be a little bit free. But when you're
Mhm.
home, I mean, you jump in with them and work and help out, right? That's what it's about. But yeah, so if you building that scenario around, it's not easy, right? Because I know for a lot of small home businesses or even a small startup business, it's hard to be able to take that leap to get someone because of the outlay, right? You got your wage, you got, I mean, here, I mean, in Australia, you got superannuation, you got tax, you got all those
Oh
things.
yeah,
I think
here in Europe is the same.
it's
It's a
different,
lot, but
different in
yeah.
America. You pay medical here in America. Like all different countries have some certain different little
Yeah.
things that maybe you have to cover as a business or offer that you have to account for. And then I guess it's working out if I put that person on though, how much more output
Yeah.
can I have? What other avenues can I take my product down by having that extra set of hands, that extra person to make more volume? Because in the end, business is about volume. There's no point selling five, four, you know what I mean? Like it's okay to start like that, but like the reality is 12
Yeah.
months down the track, if you're still doing that, then most likely your business isn't positive, right?
Yeah.
Or you're not counting the overheads that you should be, right? 'Cause, you need to work on volume to make a business work well. it's about volume. It's about getting the products that consumers want and making them. And this is where I think sometimes creativity and a business product uh, aspect kind of loses its
Oh yeah,
uniqueness a little
sometimes
bit.
they don't see eye to eye. You need maybe somebody else to like lean you
Yeah,
towards the business side.
simplify the product.
Yeah, maybe
Make it.
more
I
simple.
need to be able
Exactly.
to make it
Exactly.
easy to produce,
Investment. You're
less
investing in
touches,
another person to grow your business. That's it. Yeah.
of course.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's super important to make sure that you look at all those things when you're growing a business.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's great. I mean, so many takeaways. I keep saying I'm gonna keep saying this all this all this interview from what I see. I mean, so many takeaways because it's different, when um because in our community we all know each other. We're more or less, women working from home, taking care of our family. Most of us started because our kids wanted to have a birthday cake and we decided to take a course in cake decoration, and that's where we started. But going from there to business, the conversation is always the same, and especially for people to understand that it doesn't matter if you are Adriano Zumbo or if you're just me from the kitchen. I mean, the struggles are the same, and in order to grow and to keep scaling your business, you have to take all of this into consideration. Another thing that this podcast focus on is, of course, the time management, the mindset, the goal setting, all of that for to start creating that business mind on the cake decorators that work from home. What is your secret to cope with everything that you do? There has to be some amount of management in there besides having the team that supports you. But for you personally, like, how do you manage all of that?
Uh,
Time management, goal
it's
setting, kind of thing. How do you do it?
it's crazy. I guess for me, I've always lived what I do, right? So I live it. Obviously, my head is constantly thinking about something to do with.
Okay.
Now I don't have a business. I wouldn't have a business. It would have been about the business, about creativity. There was never probably a dull moment that there wasn't either an idea.
Yeah.
I have to do this. I need to improve that. I write notes all the time, constantly looking at how I can improve things, what can I learn, how can I do that better, how to bring a team together in such to make it perform better. And a lot of time you lose a bit of your depth in some of those because you don't have the experience or I didn't go to university. I didn't study it. I studied cooking, pastry chefing. At like what we have to do in Australia, which is called TAFE. It's very basic. And
Okay.
then you get thrown into everything. So for time management, mind management, you just live it. It's never going to be perfect in the start. But over time, when you build that team, then hopefully, if you've done it correctly, then that a lot of weight should come off your shoulders because
Mm,
those team members should be taking those different segments of your business to the next level in the way of managing it, growing it, and looking after anybody that's associated with it who work in a team under them. So, that gives you more time for yourself, but also for thinking clearer about your business and the direction you want to take it, um, and and uh, and setting those goals. I mean, goal setting, it really depends on your business. What product you make, where can you go with it? I think like when I was younger, I had some big goals and they're great. You got to dream, always dream, because if you don't dream, you don't chase anything mentally or with your mindset. But I think, looking back from the experience is by setting yourself smaller goals,
oh,
to start with. You know what I mean? Don't, straight away everyone goes, oh, I want my own business. Like I want this and I want to have $1 million kitchen and beautiful store with all this stuff. And that's great if you're in that position to do that, right? If you've got that backing cash flow or whatever, you've built your small business up and you've earned a lot of money or whatever. That's great if you've got that, but that's not the case in most scenarios. Most scenarios is a lot of people take a lot of risk, maybe bank loans and whatnot. I've been there, I've done all of that, but I think to start, it is minimizing that risk uh, in the sense of, that goal should be smaller. And when I think about that goal, how can I minimize and take out most of the risk, to be minimal, that so that if it doesn't work, and we always have to think that. I know that in the mindset we shouldn't be thinking that, but you always have to have that exit strategy, because if you
Got
don't
it.
think of an exit strategy, then you could end up in a big hole, right? Because
Yeah.
if it doesn't work, we're all afraid that it goes great and we succeed and we grow this business. But always got to aim for having an exit plan, and that could be failure or how do I get out if I see it's not working. Always think about those things when you're setting whatever goal it is. If it's a business goal.
Yeah.
Um, Time management, it's literally depends what's in your life, right? I think that some people have kids, some people don't have kids, some people, you know, uh,
Mhm.
travel. It's all these different things. So it's really just like working out the system that works for you the best.
Love it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's the only way to say. I don't think there's a one
Mm.
solution scenario to anybody,
Oh, amen to
but
that. Yeah, absolutely. I
t-
agree with
t-
you.
time
Yeah.
ma- t- time management is breaking down your life and going, okay, well, is it by, okay, well, for these hours, you know, I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to pick up this, maybe a kid from preschool, school, wherever it is, or maybe
Yeah.
have a baby. I don't know, but you've got to think about, I mean, having a baby is probably a bit hard because you pretty much every 2 hours you've got to go there. It'd be really hard to make something,
Yeah.
make a business. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's a hard one. But yeah, as you sort of climb up, I think it's about knowing yourself, being honest with yourself, and what you can actually do, and then
Yeah.
working out that time schedule around that. So, but yeah, I mean, for me over the years, it's been pretty crazy in the sense of time management. I just go 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 go. It's just push, and having those people in place, people who and a lot of time I sort of would put it past them first. Like, oh, I've got this thing and want to go. Um, what do you think? You guys going to be all right? Or whoever's working. Sometimes I'd go if I knew they were good, but sometimes if it was a situation where I felt like I was going to be away for too long or something, then I'd sort of run it past them. But look, most of the time they would just say, "Go. It's an opportunity. Go and
Yeah.
do it. We've got this. We'll look after here." And that's what really literally happened over the years. So very blessed to have had those people around me at that time, and be able to do that. And yeah, so I think it just suits your situation.
But it's great because I mean, support system is so important. And if you don't have like people working around you, I mean, family, friends, community, anything that could be your support system is
Anything.
important.
Yeah.
What you just mentioned about, because I'm a little bit like that. I'm always looking what's next. Like I achieved something and okay, so what's next? Or how can I make it better? How can I grow the podcast? Or how can I grow the community? I mean, always trying to look forward, and that's what keeps me going as well. I can say, um, and around that, you manage your activities. Like, okay, this is next. I'm gonna dedicate to this. This is next. I'm gonna dedicate to this. Amen to that. Time management is not cookie cutter. It's not the same for everyone. I mean, you have to find your way to manage your time the best way possible and the less stressful way, I guess. I mean, I guess that's what works for or whatever works for each one of us. And when you mentioned about the goals, having, because I can't I do believe what you're saying. What we hear from other people is like, oh, you have to dream big, you have to aim. Yes, you have to. Of course, you can have that big goal out there, but facing and working on those little steps, little goals in front of you is what's gonna get you there. And it's
What's going to
funny.
get
I
you
don't know
there?
if it happens to you, but when you look back and you're like, wow. I mean, I did, because when you're moving forward, it's okay. This is next. Now is this. Now is this. But when you look back, it's like, wow, I did all that. Look how far I have come, and
But
without even
sometimes,
realizing, right?
exactly, and sometimes those goals that you may have planted a seed on 10 years ago
Mm.
don't come into fruition to maybe 10 years down the track.
Oh yeah,
Because you've been building small steps alongside of maybe the day-to-day work that you're doing on this other idea. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Because you haven't had the time, or maybe it's not the right time. You haven't met the right person. Um, all these different things come into play, right? And that's why you don't set something right in front of you and drop everything for it. like you always have that backup. Keep doing what you do on the side. Work on your goals.
Hmm.
If they become so powerful that it overtakes what you're doing day to day already, then chase it. I think if you've got the right steps in place, the right signs to say that it's a positive direction, a positive uh, outcome on that idea, then chase it. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
what. But like I said, always have a strategy that if that goal doesn't, there's a way out. Along the
Yeah.
way, because don't put everything in a pot and then go get to the end and go, oh my god, I've just
Oh,
lost everything.
I love
You know
that
what I mean?
thing because I think my mind thinks like that, but sometimes I think like, well, maybe I'm being too coward, because I'm thinking of my exit strategy. But I do think
Not at
about that.
all.
I do think, well,
Nothing
if
wrong
it
with
doesn't
being
work, I have
a
this,
coward.
or if it's not that way, it's the other day, it's the other way.
It's
Like if this door doesn't open, there's another one who's going to open. I mean, I'm always thinking about that. But of course, that comes, and I wanted to ask you about that, about the war failure, because you mentioned some things have worked, something have, I mean, sometimes they don't work, right? How do you face failure or the things that don't work? Let's say, not to put it failure, the word, it's a big word in it. How do you face it? How do
Well,
you
I think
move
it's the
on
same.
from?
It's exactly the same as being successful, right?
Mm,
You fail, you being successful. It's in the same
like,
category. You fail doesn't mean that you're bad or anything. Uh, it just means that it just didn't work. Like you made mistakes along the way. You learn from those mistakes. It's all part of the process.
mm-hmm.
In the moment, like it doesn't go wrong. It's tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go through some like crappy years, a few years that are pretty crappy, right? Because of all the things that come with
Mm-hmm.
um, the failure, the administration, like all those things. When a business collapses, it's a tough situation in that sense. But taking away from it, you know, they did it for a reason. It wasn't your time, or something wasn't. You know what I mean? Like you're destined for another path, and that's how I look for it. You know what I mean? It's something that's happened along the way. For me, I had 12 years, which was pretty good for a pastry business, and in Australia, I don't think there's any pastry businesses of that grew to the size that mine grew and stayed around for that long. Most of my stores were good stores. My problem was over, like being too far ahead in the sense
Mm.
of outlaying too much too quick.
Okay.
Um, and then once you have a bad part of your business, so for example, a bad store, that maybe you keep pushing to try and save, try and keep making it work, and then you're bleeding money through that store.
Mm.
That while you've got this big uh, overhead of uh, funding that you've borrowed from the bank, which like they ain't going to put it on pause for you. You've got
Exactly.
to pay that
Mm-hmm.
every month. You've got to pay those repayments back to the bank.
Mm-hmm.
But when your business is then obviously dealing with this other thing, things start to like not connect the dots, right? Things start to fall behind in places because the money that should have been there is over here trying to save this, and once you get a couple of these kind of little scenarios in the business, the cracks appear, and even though you're trying to pull it back, it's just sometimes too far gone. Right? Whereas most probably that business that wasn't doing well in the first 3 or 4 months, I should have just cut the rope and said out. You know what I mean? Rather than having that, uh, what's the word, uh, emotion connected to that business to say, oh no, I'm going to make it work. Then you try,
Yeah.
I'm going to change the style. What are we going to do? These different products. Oh, let's try this, or we open these different hours. Look, you can try that for a little bit, but once that don't work, like from my experience, most of the time, it's time to cut the rope because
Mm.
you can have another go. Do you know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
nothing stopping you from having another go. You know, but the
It's just
deeper you
not
get,
there.
the
Yeah.
harder it is, to get out. So my learning experience from all that was, and because it was my first sort of big business, is you have a lot of emotion in it, and you're like, I can beat this. And reality says you can, but everything around you is not working for you because once you get in that scenario, nobody wants to help you because they don't want that risk put on them, whether it's a bank
Yeah.
or a company or
Yeah. An
anything like
investor or
that.
whatever. Yeah.
Everyone's pulling out because they're like,
Mm.
oh, no, because you're in this situation, blah, blah, blah. But reality goes, okay, well, if I sell this building and that and blah, 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 it should all bring us back to a level playing field. That's in your head, right? And you're like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm gonna beat it. I'm gonna beat it. But a lot of time you can't. It's just the way the system is. It's not
it is.
that.
It is.
So you got to. So early on, you got to realize those kind of situations you don't want to get into. So you want to
Yeah.
be early to see it, early to cut it, and move on. Take the little consequences early on, and then move on. And then if find it if you still believe in that idea, it may be in the wrong position, wrong street, wrong
Wrong
area,
place, wrong time. Yeah, you never know.
wrong
Yeah.
place, wrong time, right? And then the right place might come. You might do more homework, more research, learn from that, and go,
Learn.
okay,
Exactly.
now I've got it, and now I know that I need to make X amount to survive here, and I think that's viable, right? Whereas, for
But it's
me,
definitely every failure is a learning opportunity because probably
everything's learning.
you wouldn't get to that realization today if that wouldn't have happened, or it would have been different. I
Exactly.
don't know. Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
wouldn't watch what you do now. Like people say to me, "You're going to open a business again?" And I said, "Like right now,
Yeah.
no. Like right now, I wouldn't open a business just because
Exactly.
where things are at with the economy in the world, the cost of living's up, and until that sort of plateaus a little bit,
Mm.
I don't know. It's just too un what's the word, unstable.
Yeah.
For me, like how I look at it, right? There's people with businesses and they're doing great, and there's some people that are struggling, some people that are just grinding it out every week to pay the bills. I see that every week. Back in home and even around the world when I talk to friends,
Oh, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
it's everywhere, right? So
Mhm.
I just like I don't want to if I don't have to put myself in that position because I know how I've been in it, how
Yeah.
hard it is. So
And at the end of the day, is not. I mean, a failure is not you. It's the idea, the business, whatever it is that you're working on that fails. You learn from the
it is,
failure. I mean,
yeah,
I always tell my coachees, the people I work with, is like have a moment to mourn, to feel bad, to
oh,
have
totally.
it to yourself. It's part of it, but at the end of the day, learn, and it's not you. You are not a
Well,
failure. The project
no,
failed.
oh no, the project failed. Yeah, you
The
personally are
project
not a
failed. I mean,
failure,
it is on you, but
but
the project failed. Is
but
you are
you
not.
fail, right? You're the leader. So for my in my position, I was the
Yeah,
leader.
it's hard, right?
It was my vision, and I was the one calling the shots. So
Yeah, as
yes,
the leader.
I did fail,
Hmm.
but I'm not a failure. I know that I've got skills, and I know the things that you achieve throughout your career. I mean,
Yeah,
you're a failure. It is a moment in time. That's something that and 90 something percent of businesses fail
yeah,
every year, right?
yeah,
There's only a very small amount that stay afloat, and you got to remember that too, right?
yeah,
And that's business. Businesses work, businesses don't work, and it's tough to get into, and it's tough to stay in. So you always got to remember that when you get in there. You know don't like be hard on yourself. Always be open minded, driven. Um, Also, the best way is take it slow, tick the boxes, make sure everything's in front. You know what I mean? Because if
yeah,
you're too, even if you're just breaking even or whatever, and this opportunity come up over there, and I think we could make more money, don't take it because if you're not succeeding in the first place with a healthy cash flow, then why would you put yourself in the more overheads? But I see this a lot, right? Because the opportunity's there, and they think that, well, if I have another store, it's going to make me more money. It can, but I'd say
yeah,
80% of the time, it's not like that, right? You could probably make more money in one store than you can in two,
yeah.
because you got to remember with two stores, unless it's in a different state or a different place,
Hmm.
uh, but if it's local, uh, in Australia, we probably don't have the population that US does. So maybe in the US, it might work a little bit better because you might be able to put it in an outer part of that same city.
Yeah,
But you really got to weigh up. Okay, well, I'm going to add a second amount of overheads. Can I make enough turnover to warrant, having that second amount, or can I improve my original business, putting effort in to fine
hmm,
tune it
yeah,
to make, because you only have to make 30% increase to really validate another store because you don't have the overheads, right? Because if you go in another store,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
80% of your turnover are going to be overheads. So,
Mhm.
you got to go, well, if I can make my business grow that much more in this other place, why do I need another store now?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like if you're,
exactly.
but if you're booming and you've got it, then go for it. I say,
Yeah,
grow your business. So you really just got to know your business, know the right time, and be in control of all the data that you need, and like have the right people around you. In the end,
yeah,
the decision is yours. But I always say, get some other people's opinions. Like in the end, you're going to make a decision whether you believe what they say or not. But it's
yeah.
always good to challenge your mind with a vision of someone else. And I think I learned that through my harder times in business. In the early times, I kind of did what I wanted, just without even like I just had an idea. I'm like, yeah, we're going to do it. Um, but I think you need to have someone challenge your mind.
That's
Whether you
great.
listen to it or not,
Yeah,
that's your decision. But if someone challenges you, they'll put a second little box in your head to tick, and they go, "Oh, he said that, or she said that, or whatever," uh, and you'll either go, "No, I believe in what I'm doing, I'm gonna do it," or like, "Actually, got a point.
that's
Maybe I
great.
need to look deeper into that."
Great
So
advice. Yeah,
yeah, I think you
yeah,
need
that's
someone
great.
that challenges you to challenge you in that sense. I think it's
Oh,
always
I love
healthy.
that. I love that. Great advice. Listen to that one. Now, tell me something, Adriano. Does it become easier or harder with fame?
It's the same.
Is the same.
Like just
Okay.
being having a profile and people know you. Look, it will give you probably an easier start in some senses because people sort of
Mhm.
like want to come and business is business. In the
Yeah.
end, if you don't keep your customers happy, um, what's the word, excited, like always evolving with the times, what the product needs to be, what they want. Uh, doesn't matter if I had a store next to someone who has no name. It doesn't mean that they couldn't do better than me just because I've got a name. Right? People won't come back if they're not happy with what they get, the service, the product. Someone might have that next door, and that place has got a 100-meter queue.
Yeah.
Right? It's all about the experience. You give your customers an experience. You give them products that they want. Yeah, and put love into it, and flavor, texture, depending on whatever you do. They'll come back, right? Look after them,
They
and
will. They will.
yeah. So I think that's the key. Doesn't matter if you're famous or not famous. You can be as successful as one another in business. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I got friends that are way better businesses than I have. And that they don't have any name. They don't. No one knows who they are. They've got a great position. They look after their local clientele really well. They make a great product, and it's a great experience. It's a great atmosphere where they are, their position, and they do well.
Oh,
So
I love that you say that because,
yeah,
especially nowadays with the social media, all the pressure and everything, everyone wants to be an influencer. Everyone wants to, and
oh,
I always talk about this in the communities and with my people. Is like, what are you here for? What I mean, and what's going to keep you here for the long run? Is it to dance on
but it's not
TikTok?
those people. No,
Yeah,
it's not
or
those
is it
people, right?
to have a
Those
good
people
product?
off
Yeah,
TikTok and Instagram who make trends and influence, they're only going to come to your place to be seen,
yeah.
right? They're not going
Mhm.
to come every week in, week out. Majority are not going to, right? They're not your local clientele. They're not the
Yeah.
ones that are going to be the bread and butter to your business. Come to get your product constantly for their events, their parties, their dinners, their
Mhm.
little treats, their kids, whatever it is, right? They're the
Yeah.
people. They're the people who know you or know the business, who believe in what you do and your product, right? Some of them will see it through social media, yes, but the key thing is like the ones you're talking about, those things. I mean, they serve their purpose on social media. People like it. People got that short attention span. They want to see something quick,
Yeah,
and then
just keep
they want to
scrolling.
get
Oh, great,
they
that's it.
want to they want to jump in on the trend and get their photo with the product. So they come and have the experience, and then they'll never come back. Half of them, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're just there for that moment. They don't really, half the time they don't even eat the food. They're
It's
just there
true.
for the photo. If they take one little bite, or their friend might eat it, who knows? I've seen so many they just leave the stuff. It's just, oh,
Oh,
here's a
that's
photo. I'm
sad.
good.
You do not
It's
leave a
it's
cake
but
behind.
that's the world we live in now. Is people order food to be seen,
Um,
and a lot of time they don't eat it, or they might have a friend that eats it in the background, but being the
yeah.
person that you're
And the other
seeing,
day I saw something that's crazy. I don't know. Have you ever been to Portugal?
no, I
Oh,
really
you
want to go
should.
to Portugal. Yeah, I
You
really
should
do.
come. We have here a very famous, yeah, sweet called pastel de nata. It's sort of
Oh, yeah.
like a custard cake, right?
Oh,
And
we,
there
we
is
have them in
the
Australia.
yeah, the pastéis de Belém is the most famous one, and it's full of tourists. I was there yesterday with some friends who came over to visit,
Yeah,
and there was this lady. She was Asian, I don't know, Chinese, Japanese. She was Asian, and she was taking all of the pictures of the pastry. She was taking pictures of herself, like trying to eat it. I mean,
yeah,
it was like half an hour. We ate like three pastries, each of us, and she was just there taking pictures. She took a bite, she gave it to her boyfriend, and that's it. She didn't do anything else. I was like, that's
that's
sad.
it.
That's so sad. It's like, why do you do that? And now that you mentioned that, just
Exactly.
remember that. We were all looking at her like, what's wrong? Why does
It's
she just
wrong.
eat
Yeah,
it? It's real good.
they're so small too. They're like
And they're
delicious,
really
small
small.
and
Just eat
delicious.
it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
But it's just for the picture. It's crazy. It's crazy.
but that's
But
yeah, and that's the world we live in now. Yeah.
yeah. And it's funny because, I mean, you being you, who has been on Netflix, I've been on TV and everything, and saying that, keeping it so real, I love it because so many of our community, so many people in our community, they just waste so much time trying to figure out the perfect formula to be that influencer. It's like, no, just make good cakes and, take care of your customers, take care of your community, and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't need to do much.
The
Yeah,
key, the key to social media, I think, to keep your community real, is just regularity.
yeah,
Posting regularly, posting like you said, being true to who you are and what your
hmm,
personality is, your style, and what you do, and that's it. Like I think it's changed. It's changed a lot now. Like it's hard to get likes and followers and all that kind of stuff because of the high demand and this trend and this, this area where everything has to be at a certain point, right, to
yeah,
make people interested because it's otherwise it's for them it's boring. So videos now that go crazy have to be really like either funny, fast, or giving away a recipe.
yeah,
They're the things people want. Like it goes back to people wanting something
yeah. Oh, yeah.
for
Oh,
their. It's not just see what your friends or people who you like are doing and like it and like keep going. Now it's more about like what do I get? Oh, they're giving away a recipe. Yes, I like that comment on that. Oh, thank you so much.
they
It's
never come
more that now, right?
back. They
It's
never
just
come back. Yeah, true.
it's just one of those things that's changed a lot. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's good in some. I guess that people get to learn off social media, but also then it kind of some ways devalues what people do as well
yeah,
because they're having to give away who they are on social media to get connective points with people. You
yeah.
know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I don't know. Me, it's always like, oh yeah, write a book or uh, do a online class or like
Yeah,
give your talent away that way. Yes, give away some stuff to people and videos, but like yeah, you got to value yourself a little bit too. So, but
it's.
it's
I
changed
think it's
now.
about
Whereas
valuing.
you have to.
Yeah, valuing what you do. We kind of have had a little bit of a backlash from the pandemic because a lot of people gave a lot for free, like demos and
Oh,
classes and stuff.
oh,
Our group, Cake Friends Stay Creative, started doing that, and we started in a very naive way, I have to say. But I think it was the second year then I cut it out. It's like, okay, so let's just stop this. Now we're managing only, I think it's two events a year where people, some of our teachers share stuff, but I always tell them share things that you can connect to your classes or just a
yeah,
technique that you can connect to a bigger project later and promote your work because we
exactly.
have given so much away and it's kind of backlashing now to us. And the other thing is people who's looking at it in the other side think, oh, this is so easy, anyone can do it. So it's like they don't respect the skill and the knowledge that is behind it. I don't know if that has happened to you as well or to the people that you know.
the people not respecting the skill and knowledge.
Yeah, that, I mean, this
Oh,
giving for
totally, yeah.
free is getting out of control, right?
Oh, it's out of control. It's every. I can see,
Yeah.
yeah, so many chefs now just like that's what they feel like they have to do to keep the likes, the people following them. And in some ways, that's where the attention span's gone to, right?
Yep.
Oh, is a picture of a cake? Oh, boring. Oh, it's got a recipe.
Oh,
Bang, you know what I mean? It's
this one like,
exciting. Oh my
yeah,
God, it's someone he's giving away a free recipe. Oh my God. So, it is what it is, and the world is changing. But, it's a shame, like it's a hard one because I
yeah,
think that you shouldn't have to really do that to
yeah,
get, yeah, to get that connection or all that, to get that audience.
yeah. It's true. Now, look at, I mean, I have to ask because you've been in so many shows and in so many things. You've been judged, you've been a judge in many shows. Um, how does that, I mean, does that change you? Does, does that ever go into your head or not? I mean, do you feel like, okay, I made it because I'm on TV or not? Because it's a goal for many people. So I just want
Yeah.
to ask, how is it for you?
Never. Yeah, it's never been a goal for me. So, like I had my first business years ago, never ever thought of TV. Like it wouldn't even cross my mind.
Yeah.
And it sort of came across as an accident, like starting with MasterChef Australia, and, and then having a few issues with some of with it. Well, at the time it was the Brockenbush um, on set, and I got called in through another friend who mentioned my name, saying, "Oh, this guy can help. He'll be able to fix the issues." And so I got called in as a fix the fix the design for the challenge.
Okay.
Yeah, so they wanted to do a crock and bush for a challenge, and so which eventually turned into, oh, you're going to carry it out on set.
Okay, that's how
So
you
from
show
from
up on TV.
from so that's how I first got onto a reality cooking show in the sense of TV. Right?
Yeah.
I set the challenge. Originally, it wasn't going to be about me, and then it changed. For the producer, had an idea and said, "You're going to carry it out and put it in front of them, and tell them that this is what they have to make for their pressure test." And I was like, okay. And I was young. I was nervous hadn't done much TV, so it was a great experience. And from that, on that same show, given many opportunities to do more things through pressure tests and stuff like that over those next few years. Um, and then other opportunities came from that as well because that show, obviously, MasterChef Australia, blew up around the world,
Yeah.
and and grew a profile nationally first, then internationally, and very very fortunate for that opportunity to be able to be in the right place, right time, and someone's mouth that mentioned me to be able to get to do that project because there's many pastry chefs that could do it, so it's just yeah, and being able to take the opportunity and grow with it has been a great thing. And um, look, it's I never wanted, like I said, for me, TV is a bonus.
It was not a
Like
goal. Okay.
it's never been a goal, right? Sometimes I have ideas about shows. That's about it. That's as far as I go for chasing something. But like I don't see me going, how do I get myself back on TV? I have to be on TV.
Okay.
I've been fortunate enough to be on a couple of shows, have my own name on a show. So for me, it's a few boxes ticked, and then now it's like,
I have to
look,
say,
you're
me
not.
and my youngest daughter, who's the one who likes this, we were quite fans of the Zumba's Just Desserts. But now I have to ask you a different thing. Being a judge in a show or being
Yeah.
a judge in a competition, because I know that now you have been a judge in several cake decorative competitions. How is the? I mean, I'm asking because I'm terrible at judging. Because I want to be nice to everyone, and I always give an A for an effort. So it's hard. I mean, how is it for you? Is it hard? Is it simple? Can you keep your head straight and clear on this
Oh,
is what I'm looking for or not? How does
yeah.
that work for you?
For me, it's pretty easy. If I like it or not. It's judging is a personal thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I always say people don't take competitions too seriously
Mm.
because literally it's your depending on how many judges there is, whether there's one, three, five, the result. is only an interpretation of those judges,
Oh, I
right?
like.
It doesn't mean that your whatever you made doesn't appeal to the rest of the world, right? That's if the rest of the world judged, the results might have been different. Okay, so
Yeah,
anytime you go into a competition, even for myself, if I ever go into a competition, it may be one judge, there's one person to tell me that he didn't like it or she didn't like it or whatever it is.
yeah,
You know, it's
yeah,
so um, it's one of those things, right? That you take with a grain of salt. If you win, great. If you don't, you know, keep trying or don't try. It's up to you. If you enjoy it, uh, putting yourself in the arena, that's just life. Uh, you got to be able to take criticism, someone's opinion, and
mm-hmm.
just remembering that that's just their opinion. That's not the opinion of everybody in the crowd, everybody at home, everybody wherever it is. They all have their own sense of what they thought of the product or what they can see. Maybe they're not even there, but they still have an opinion through a
Yeah,
TV screen. That's just life, right? And so yeah, you always got to remember that whatever the result is from that person on the spot, and that's how I see judging. When I judge something, I'm looking at like what I like, and that's what most judges look at. And then I guess the only thing that's probably a little bit level across the board is probably technique. Because
okay,
if you're
okay,
looking at
mm-hmm.
techniques and style, um, most judges will have a very similar eye for what that should be. If it's if for example in cake decorating, if it's flowers and whatnot, it's a little bit more technical, right? It's
Yeah,
not so
it
much
is.
about the final creativity plays a part, but then it's about technical of how that flower should be, how it should look,
Yeah,
um, and that's kind of a standard. That's a little bit different to judging something just free form creativity
yeah,
in a dessert or a cake or and that's where you got to look at as well. I guess whose creativity connects with you because
mm-hmm.
that's what's going to be in your eye, right?
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so that's how I kind of look at judging.
But it's
It's
great. I mean, it's a great advice for us who participate in competitions because I try to, of course, take it seriously and with the respect that it should be taken for to show my work. But at the same time, I was like, I want to be true to myself. And if the other person doesn't like it, it's like, well, I'm sorry, but this is, okay, follow the technique, but there's always that part that is like, yeah, so I kind of like and I don't, and judging is definitely not for me. I'm too nice. I can't,
yeah,
I can't be a judge because I always look at the positives. Like it could be not perfect, but he tried or she tried, and
yeah,
it's that.
exactly.
So yeah, for me it's bad. That's why I wanted to ask you about that. How
And
was
you
that?
take things into account like time. Like if it's a live competition,
Oh yeah,
or whatever. If they only got 2 hours to make that
it's
product,
hard.
that 2 hours to make that product is hard. Like
Yeah.
you take that into account. I do. I know some judges don't. Yeah, some judges just like if it's not perfect, it's it's
Oh, but for you
whereas
that would
I
be
go, well, that looks pretty cool for like 2 hours to try and do that. I can see where you're going, but I
yeah.
know that you've fallen a little bit short, but it still looks good. If, for example, if it's a dessert, if it tastes out of this world, then like, for me, taste and texture tasting judging panel is number one, right?
Okay.
Looks for me comes third. It's like anything in life, right? It's not about, it's about if it's a person, it's about the inside of the person, right?
The inside, the essence, yes, not
The
the not
essence of the
not the
person, the
part.
soul,
Yeah, exactly.
same with the cake. It's about
Yeah.
the taste and texture. If it's that kind of competition, if it's just a static competition where it's just design, then, then it's about that looks, right? Number one.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to eat it, you're not going to taste it. It's just there as a display. Someone's
It's
putting their creativity into the final work. So,
yeah.
different things take into account when you're doing different styles of judging. But yeah, it's good fun.
Oh, great, great.
It's good fun. When there's stuff that's, especially with tasting, man, as long as there's stuff that tastes good, that's
So how is it? Do you? I mean, do you get like after trying so many things, is it start to
some
getting
things are
like
terrible. Yeah.
yeah, is it really bad, or
Yeah.
it's you start to get
Some
fed
things,
up? Like I cannot taste another chocolate again, or like or your
oh
palate
no,
starts to get
if
numb.
it
I don't
tastes
know.
good, then you never get like sick of it. But like
Yeah.
there's always, amongst a couple of good ones, there's always the ones that are just super sweet, or haven't, for example, like been tasting things like cupcakes or whatever. They haven't like the icings are grainy,
Yeah.
and they haven't like the sugar hasn't dissolved properly. All these things, like, and you're just like, ugh,
And you're
but
like, ooh,
then you get one that's really delicious, and you're like, oh my god, that was awesome.
thank goodness.
Um, y- yeah, so
Right.
it's up and down, but it's good. Like it's good to people get enjoyment out of it as well. Like that
Yeah.
they're putting themselves on there and getting an experience. So
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. We're almost getting to the end of the episode, but there are a few things that I want to ask you as where you're standing now. If you could talk to Adriano many years back when you were starting, what would you tell to yourself, which could be said to anyone who's starting right now? What piece of advice would you tell them, or would you tell yourself about, getting into this culinary world?
have fun. I think it's one thing I always say is that cooking or baking or cakes, desserts, whatever it is, it's hard work.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle, right? You live it. It's not one that you start 9 to 5, go home, and then have 4 days off. Most situations it's not like that. It's something that you
Didn't
live.
even have
It's in your
weekend
head every day.
almost.
Even if you're out on the weekend that's classified as a day off, most of the time in your head you're still thinking about, I've got to pick this up, I've got to get that, I've got to write that recipe. I'm going to mix chocolate with blackcurrant and um, blackberry tea. Yeah, like you're trying to think of the thing. So you're
Yeah.
always working. It's a lifestyle. So I
Hmm.
always say, have fun. It's been my thing all the time. You got to have fun. Enjoy it. Do things you want to do. Like I said before, take calculated risks. For me, from if I was talking to myself young, I probably wouldn't change very much. Um, because you just like you said earlier, have a dream and chase it. You kind of got to do that. Have something there. The dreams probably that you chase are probably never the same as what you've dreamt, but it's part of the process, right? Because
Hmm.
trying to grab that big dream, it's not impossible, but like I said, it takes different diversions along the way, and maybe that those things change. They evolve, turn into something else according to circumstances and whatnot. But I think I don't regret any of my path, failure, success, whatever it is. It's part of the process. Um,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't say too much about changing anything in the sense of that. I would just say, look, have fun, and enjoy yourself. Always believe in your personality. I think if I was talking to someone young, that's one thing, is don't get influenced too much by other people, because a
Yeah.
lot of people feel like what they see in themselves is not good enough. Oh no, I couldn't do that. Oh, no. But they'll just refer to something that's already been done because they feel like that's been done and it's good. But in fact, it's probably like worked off for you because you're not really developing your personality. Um, we see it more these days, I think, with the pressures of social media. Everyone's trying to be different. That some
Yeah.
people are taking those avenues a lot more, being a
Hmm.
little bit more um, belief in themselves in a sense, because they're just at home behind a camera, so they don't really have the face too much. You know what I mean? So I think it's good to see that people have that personality, but definitely believe in it and
Yeah.
be who you are, how you think, your mind, your creativity, and really display that in what you do. So yeah, that's probably about it. I think
Oh,
not
that's
much,
great.
not much, not much more. But if anything, with a little bit of business advice, I'd probably just like, yeah, take it slow. You know,
But
uh,
I mean, it's
and that's
great
it.
advice. Yeah, because at the end of the day, is that who really, I think, who really stands up is whoever is true to themselves, right, and to their
Yeah,
personality. Uh, I mean, there's so many things done, but nothing. I mean, whatever new is going to come up is going to come up because you're different, because you're not like everybody else. So yeah, and I mean, goods and bads, flaws and all. I mean, it's part of who you are. And it's funny that
exactly,
you mentioned, because I guess we all come to a point that is like, I wouldn't change anything that happened before, because that's what got me where I am today, good and bad.
exactly.
It's
And that's who
it's what
made
it is.
exactly
Yeah,
made me who I am right now. In the sense of how I think and what I've experienced. It's just who you are.
yeah.
And the key thing, remember, it's not a race either. You
That's
don't
good.
have to do it the quickest. You know, I had, when I started a business, I mean, it wasn't a goal of mine to do it the quickest, but sometimes when you get in that world of people offering you new stores and this and that and all this happening, and you're like, oh yeah, yeah, great idea, yeah, 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 and you're not really thinking enough about what's happening. It's not a race. Stand back, process it, think
Oh,
about,
I love
the
like that.
good, the bad, the consequences, the risks, all those things. Um, you know what? And if that opportunity goes because you're not quick enough to get on it,
Mm-hmm.
it's not meant to be in your life. You know what I mean? Don't feel
Listen
like,
to that,
oh,
people.
I've
Yeah.
lost that opportunity because if you believe in what you do and your brand and your product is great, another opportunity will come. So don't
Mm,
stress. It's one of those things that I think that you really have to believe in that because there's no point taking the pressure of someone else who's trying to get you into a place or something and then you go in unready. You kind of already half set up for failure, right? Because unless you have the team behind you and all those kind of things,
yeah.
it's just a rat race, in the sense of I've got to get this and this and this and this. We're rushing. Nothing's been done. No processes have been set up. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, take the time. It doesn't matter when you get there.
It doesn't matter. Oh, I love that. I love that. Amen to that. Yeah, it's not a
Yeah.
race. It's not a race. Because people think that they're like missing out or, or
Oh,
everybody else is going to get there before me. Calm down. I mean, it's
but
it's
but
it's
like you said before,
it's
like
with
everything's been
you, not
done.
with everybody else. Yeah.
Most things have been done.
Yeah.
Whether it's in another country, like I think of some things I see today, I did it 12 years ago. Some things that I've seen in another country, but
Mm,
they're like claiming to be like everything's kind of been done in different ways through different people.
yeah.
And now I think it's different with social. We can see it more.
Yeah.
Many years ago, we didn't see it, right? Because we didn't have, unless we traveled to another country, we didn't really experience a lot of the stuff. But now it's all visible. We see it more. So, I think there's a lot more people like, oh, no, I did that. I've got to be like that. Or I got to do that first. Or, all these different things. So I think, don't
Mm,
worry about all that stuff because in the end, it's just do what's in your head, what connects with you and what you
yeah.
believe in and it means something to you. That's all that matters.
Oh, that's great. And what's in the future? What's the store in the future for you, Adriana? What are an exciting new projects coming up? Things that we can know about from you.
Not really. Hey, I've just taken it bit by bit. I think these days, like this year's been pretty busy with travel and doing bits and pieces, and which is great. I think that's been a different pathway for me. But yeah, enjoying it. Next year, I don't know. I think I've really got to think about what I'm going to do next year. To be
Yeah.
honest, and I kind of don't know. Do I work more a bit on content, teaching? I don't know. I don't know if I want to go into business if I have to, or that's a direction. I don't. It's one of those things that the business thing I'm not 100% sure, and that's why I haven't like chased it. Like I'd love to sell products because I love creating for people, and I
Yeah.
love people enjoying it. I think there's nothing better than someone eating your stuff, experiencing it. And I get so many messages all the time. People coming to Australia for a holiday. Where can I get your cakes? Where can I get this? And unfortunately, I don't have an outlet anymore to be able to say, oh, go to this store or go here
Yeah.
um, and try that or be there myself to meet them, and etc. But that can't be the main reason why you open a business. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because you'd love to, but that's not the reason that business is going to succeed. Right? It's that's part of it, but there's more to it than
Yeah.
doing it for that reason. So yeah, right now I don't know. So I think I'd love to write another book.
Oh,
Um,
great.
Yeah, and then just I don't know, look at opportunities. I guess
Oh,
I mean,
great.
I'd love to create my own sort of like brands, like not so much shops, but like brands in the sense of like tools and some ingredients, and then maybe like even some products that could go into other people's retail stores.
Oh,
You
that
know
would
what I mean?
be
Like
great.
that, like gifting stuff. I
Uh-huh.
don't know. It's like in my head. I'd love to do that. I don't know if I will. It's like one of those things where yeah, it's in my head. If it comes to fruition and it gets some traction, then yeah, great. I'd love to be able to keep pushing that direction because it's been something in my head for many many years,
Yeah.
and now I feel like I've got more of the time. But you still need to work with someone on that because you yourself can't really do all that. You know what I mean? In the sense of
Oh
if you're
yeah,
doing other
yeah,
things as well, you need
yeah.
to have someone you're working with. So, um, yeah, if I find that right connection
Well, if you're
and
listening and you're
pathway,
interested in working with Adriano, contact him through here. Why not? You never know. You never know. It's
you never
crazy.
know.
Because I
That's
mean,
it.
these past 4 years for me have been like that. Like I'm having a conversation with somebody, I'm saying something, and that person said, "Whoa, wait, you can connect with this," or somebody listens. I mean, you never know. You were talking about that, about the networking, how important it is.
It's so true. It's so
You never
important,
know.
and you just never know, right? Someone might
Great.
have looking for something or whatnot, and you connect and make something happen. So always keep your eyes and ears in open and
Yeah.
positive outlook on everything you do. So
Oh, great, great. Adriana, we always have one final question here for our guests. It's the same
yeah.
question for everyone. It's very simple. Don't get scared. Is if you could bake or create a cake for anyone, dead or alive, who would that be, and what would that cake look like? Anyone, famous or not, whoever.
Oh, who would I like to bake a cake for?
It's not an easy question.
Not an easy question because
No,
there's
no,
so many
no,
people, right?
no. I
You
always
can
ask
bake a
this
cake for
to
so
my
many
guests, and
people.
I've had all the, I mean, all the answers you could imagine. I had cakes for Freddie Mercury, for Marie Antoinette. A
Yeah,
lot of
wow,
people talk about their own family, like grandmas, because they learned with them to cook. So,
wow.
yeah.
Uh, I'd probably say I'm going to say Johnny Cash.
Wow. Oh, that's
Yeah,
great. Are you a Johnny Cash
I think
fan?
that, yeah, there's so much darkness in his music.
Uh
And I think
huh.
a take could really maybe bring some brightness to his day.
Oh,
And
I love that.
I really like his music. Even though it's a little bit sad, it's good in the right moment,
Yeah.
and it's very comforting music. I really like Johnny Cash. I listen to it a lot when I work, um, and I think it's kind of cool to do a monotone take. All black, the man in black. So uh, it'd be something pretty exciting, I think, for myself to do something like. I mean, there's many people I'd love to make cake for,
Yeah,
but I
but
think
that's
that's
the
probably
first
the
one
one.
that came to your mind. That's good.
That's the first one that came to my mind with a connecting story. I think,
Hmm.
when I was thinking about someone probably more current that I was like, no, that's come straight to my mind. So I'm gonna go with that.
Oh, I love it. And especially there, I mean, there's a message behind what this person, what you said is cakes are to make people happy. I mean, at the end of the day, we just want people to enjoy the sweetness, to, be happy and feel that joy of eating some sugar. Why not? I mean, it's
Exactly.
just that's what we do. So yeah. Oh, that's great. Great answer. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Adriano. I mean, it has been amazing. Thank you so much for. I hope you enjoyed this
Yeah, I've
conversation
loved
that
it.
we had.
It's been awesome.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, so much takeaway. Um, if you're listening to this episode, go back. I mean, listen carefully because Adriano has given us a lot of insights of his business and the way he lead his work and his business, and in a very simple and down to earth way. I love that. I love that. Adriano, where can people find you if they're looking for you, like online, or where do you usually find you?
Oh, you can find me on social media and stuff there at the Sweet Assassin. I do have a website, but I'm just working on www.adrianozumbo.com, but it's just working on getting it back up at the moment. So, but yeah, but
Okay.
keep an eye on it.
I'll
Eventually, when
leave
it
the
comes back
links.
up,
I'll leave the links here in the episode if anybody wants to
yeah. But
to
yeah,
to check it out.
I'm on all those social media channels but mainly Instagram. But yeah, you can find me on any of those.
That's where we all are, I guess. That's great. Thank you so much, Adriana. Thank you, really. Thank you for being here. Thank you for saying yes to being here on the podcast. It's been an honor, and I mean, it's been really fun. Thank you so much. Thank
It's been
you.
awesome. Thanks for having me. And I hope
Yeah.
yeah, hope it helps anybody in some way and keep have fun baking.
Oh, it will, and I'm sure we're gonna have you back maybe next year with all the news about your new products. You never know. You
You never
never
know.
know. Great. Thank you so much, Adriano.
Awesome.
And to
Thanks a
everyone
lot.
listening, thank you for listening. And as always, my sweet friends, stay safe and stay creative. I'll see you next time.